Hi there, welcome back to our introductory Python programming course for beginners. In today's video, we will cover our first core programming concept, and that's variables. And just a quick note before we begin, if you enjoy our videos, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notifications when we upload new videos. Okay, let's get started. First things first, let's define what a variable is. The definition is a little long, so we've put it on the screen for you. Let's read it together. A variable is a way to store a value or data in computer memory as a name that we can use to recall, reuse, and update or change the value or data. So don't worry if this doesn't make sense yet. We're going to see some numeric examples to make it all clear. Also, variables apply to data of different types, but we'll continue to work with numbers for now until we learn about the other data types. So let's create a variable. To create a variable, we use variable assignment, and the syntax, we're going to put it on the screen for you here. So the syntax is whatever variable name that you choose, equal sign, and then whatever value or data that you want to store. So let's look at an example right away. Let's create a variable for age with the value of 32, and I'll simply just name it age. Let's run that to see what happens. So we don't get any output, errors or otherwise, and that's exactly what we should see because this operation is happening in the background. To see if things went well, we can write the variable name and run that to see what was saved in it. So let's just write age in the following cell, run that. Variable age is now the number 32. Now we can use the variable age we just created the same way we would use the number 32. For example, if we wanted to know how old is this person going to be in 10 years, we could write 32 plus 10, or we could write age plus 10. So if we run that, that's going to give us 42 as well. Awesome. We've just created our first variable. Yay. Now, before we get into how to update or change variables, we need to talk about some naming conventions. We have syntax rules for naming, i.e., if you break them, your code won't work. And then we have some recommendations for readability, consistency, and whatnot. Let's start with the syntax rules. So you're only allowed to include letters, numbers, and underscore when naming variables. So that means no other special characters except for underscore and no spaces either. So let's see what happens when we do this. Let's say we're going to name our variable current age instead of age and use a space. Let's see what happens. We get a syntax error because that space in there is not allowed by Python. So if we wanted to fix this, there are a couple of different ways that we would do this. But for Python, we have a style guide called PEP8 that helps us with readability and consistency. So it recommends that we only use lower caps when naming our variables, and we use an underscore instead of a space. And this is called snake case. So let's try that. So now we've got our underscore there instead of our space, and we've got lower caps as well. So I'm just gonna write the variable name underneath so we can see the output in the same cell. So, great, that works. Another thing we're not allowed to do is special characters. So let's try something. I'm gonna write money, dollar sign, and see what happens. Yep, we get another syntax error here because we're not allowed to use any special characters except for the underscore. So just keep this in mind. You could get the syntax error, and maybe, hopefully, you remember that that might be the reason. Another syntax rule is you cannot start with a number, or you cannot have a variable that's a number itself. Like let's just name the number because, well, a number is a number. It's not a variable. So let's try that out. Let's say we wanted to put 1 equal 32. And let's say we were just starting with the number. Let's say 1 age. Yep, we get another syntax error. So not allowed to start with a number or have a number as a variable name. That should be all the special naming syntax you need to know. But just a note, you can also get syntax errors from violating the assignment syntax that we talked about. That's variable name equal value. For example, if you leave out the value or the data piece. And besides syntax, another important thing is to try your best to use descriptive names. This helps your future self and other people reading your code to more quickly understand it. So, for example, for the age variable, I could have named it something like A or something even worse, like an L or something. And that would be very hard to like try to understand or even remember. Like I could come back tomorrow and be like, well, what was I writing? So just do yourself a favor and be descriptive, but not too long. Like don't make the names too long because long names are a pain to work with. And another thing is these names are case sensitive. So that's why PEP 8 recommends that we only use lower caps because that's going to eliminate a whole host of problems that we could get. But they're not only case sensitive, but you have to write the exact value that or the exact name that you put in. Otherwise, we're going to get something called a name error. So that's our next topic. So a name error happens when you essentially try to retrieve a variable that doesn't exist or that you haven't created yet. So, for example, we've created the variable age and also the variable current underscore age. But let's say we were gonna write current ages or current underscore ages and see what happens. All right, let's try to retrieve that. Okay, we get a name error. It says that name current ages is not defined because this variable is not created. We have created the variable current age. If I write it down here, run that. There we go. So we have current age, but we don't have current ages. So if you get a name error, just know that, or maybe you didn't put the right variable name, or maybe that you haven't actually created it yet. So just a note there if you ever see that. So another reason you would get a name error is by restarting the kernel and not rerunning everything, or at least, the part that assigns the variable that you want to use. In the last video, we learned that restarting the kernel would clear all the computer memory, but it didn't mean much to us then because, well, we weren't saving anything, but now it does. So let's take a look at that. Let's restart the kernel. I'm going to go up to our toolbar with this recycling type sign. And it tells us, do you want to restart the current kernel or variables will be lost? Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it. Okay, now let's go straight to running current age and see what happens. Yep, name error. We've got the name error. It's not found because we've cleared all the memory. All the variables are gone. You need to rerun everything to get that to work. You need to redefine it. But the kernel may restart on its own too. It's not always when you go in and click all the buttons. It's if maybe Python or your browser or your computer crashes for whatever reason, everything in memory will get erased. So maybe you were doing something, you stepped away for lunch, you came back, you ran this and it didn't work. That's probably what happened. You just got to rerun everything else. This brings us to our last topic, updating or changing variables. Since we restarted our kernel, I'll create a new variable, bank balance. I'm just going to paste it in. So we've got bank balance equal 100, and we are outputting it to the screen as well. So let's run that. Here we go. Great. So let's say I got $20 more in my bank account. I don't want to go negative. So let's just say 20 extra bucks. So there are three ways that you can do this. You can, first of all, just reassign it with the new value, and we'll do that right now. I'll copy it and paste it in. All right, so let's change the 100 to 120. All right, so bank balance is now 120. So simple as that. But another way that we could do this is by first adding the 20 to bank balance and then assigning that to bank balance again in one line. So let's copy that. So we've got bank balance equal bank balance plus 20. So what the computer does is it first evaluates what's on the right side. So like I said, we're going to first add 20 to bank balance and then it will reassign it again into bank balance. So that should now be 140. There you go. Great. And there's a third way to do this as well, which is the short form of this expression here that we just wrote. And I'll copy and paste that in as well. There we go. So what we have here is bank balance and then plus equal 20. So this plus equal is telling the computer to first add the 20 to bank balance and then assign it to bank balance. So it's the same thing that we did up here, but it's the short form and I really like it. So bank balance right now is 140. Let's run it and it should be 160. There you go, 160. So these are the three ways that you can update or change your variables. And with the last two, where you have the different operators, you can replace those with any of the other operators that we've learned. So if my bank balance was going down by 20 instead, you could have bank balance minus 20. And down here, you could have bank balance minus equal 20. So let's say your bank balance was going to be 20 times more. You could also have star equals here, which is the multiplication sign for Python, and that would replace the bank balance with 20 times itself. This brings us to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. Our next video is going to be a short one. It's going to be on comments, which are a way to document code within the code cell. So that is useful for so many different things, and I hope you join me to find out. Bye-bye.